We mark it every October, once a day of parades, marching bands, and school children waving flags. Columbus Day. For generations, it was meant to honor courage, the moment when a daring sailor crossed the unknown ocean and changed the course of history. But in recent years, another name has begun to replace it: Indigenous Peoples Day, a name that tells a different story, not of discovery, but of destruction. So who was Christopher Columbus? The visionary explorer who opened a new world, or the man whose voyages unleashed conquest, slavery, and death? The truth, as usual, lies somewhere between the hero and the villain. This is the story of Columbus, explorer, villain, or both. If this sounds like the best historical topic ever, well, I have news for you. We have a whole channel dedicated to in-depth weekly historical documentaries and daily shorts. Be sure to check us out and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. Now, let's talk about Christopher Columbus. The year is 1492. Europe is on the brink of transformation. The Renaissance has rekindled curiosity, science, and ambition. Kingdoms rise and fall in wars of faith and power. Spain has just completed its centuries-long Reconquista, expelling Muslim rulers from Granada, and with the same sense of divine mission, turns outward to the sea. Among the dreamers at court stands a man from Genoa, a man who calls himself Cristoforo Colombo. To many, he seems mad. He insists the earth is not only round, a fact already known, but small enough that a voyage west will reach Asia. He has begged kings for years to fund him and been rejected again and again. But Queen Isabella of Castile and King Ferdinand of Aragon, newly united and hungry for glory, finally agree. 3 ships are prepared: the Niña, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. 90 men set sail into the Atlantic. They have no idea what waits for them. For over 2 months, the ocean stretches endless and silent. Crewmen whisper of mutiny. Then, on October 12, 1492, a cry from the crow's nest, "Tierra!" Land. Columbus believes he has reached islands near Asia. He names them the Indies, and their people the Indios. In his journal, Columbus writes that the people are gentle and generous, that they have no iron and would make good servants. He plants a cross and a Spanish banner, claiming the land for his monarchs. Columbus's first voyage returns to Spain with tales of gold and wonder. He is celebrated as Admiral of the Ocean Sea. But when he sails again the next year, he no longer comes as an explorer. He comes as a conqueror. His second expedition includes 17 ships, soldiers, settlers, and priests, a small army with orders to establish colonies. They find that the garrison Columbus left behind has been wiped out by indigenous resistance. In revenge, his men burn villages, enslave captives, and hunt for gold that scarcely exists. Columbus writes of the Taíno people as simple, trusting, and fit to be ruled. Under his governorship, the encomienda system is established, forcing indigenous people to labor for Spanish colonists. Those who resist are punished brutally. One Spanish priest, Bartolomé de las Casas, witnesses it all. In his book, A Short Account of the Destruction of the Indies, he writes, "The Christians, with their horses and swords, began to carry out massacres and strange cruelties. They cut off the heads of children, they tore them from their mothers to dash them against rocks. At first, Las Casas himself owned enslaved people, but he later renounced it, becoming one of history's first human rights advocates. He wrote that under Columbus's system, entire populations of the Caribbean were dying, not only from violence, but from disease, starvation, and despair. By 1500, complaints against Columbus's rule reached Spain. He was accused of tyranny, even by his own men, and was arrested and sent home in chains. Although the crown later restored his title, his power was gone. He died in 1506, convinced he had reached Asia, never knowing he had found a continent unknown to his world. For centuries after his death, Columbus was little more than a footnote, overshadowed by conquistadors and empire builders like Cortés, Pizarro, and Magellan. Then, in the 19th century, America went looking for heroes. The young United States, made up of immigrants, wanted a founding myth that stretched beyond British roots. Columbus, a Christian sailor defying the odds, discovering a new world, fit perfectly. Writers began to romanticize him. Washington Irving's 1828 biography painted Columbus as a man of destiny, visionary, brave, chosen by God. Soon, cities were named for him, monuments rose, and for Italian Americans facing prejudice, Columbus became more than a hero. He was their symbol of belonging in the American story. By the early 1900s, the Knights of Columbus, a Catholic fraternal organization, lobbied to make his day a national holiday. In 1937, President Franklin D. Roosevelt agreed. Columbus Day became official, celebrated as a moment of courage, discovery, and national pride. Children learned that Columbus discovered America. Textbooks showed him standing nobly on a beach, flag in hand, as grateful islanders knelt before him. The darker realities, enslavement, conquest, and genocide, were erased. For decades, the myth of Columbus was woven into the fabric of American identity. But myths don't last forever. By the late 20th century, a new generation began asking uncomfortable questions. If Columbus discovered America, who was living here first? Indigenous activists and historians began to challenge the story taught in schools. They pointed out that millions of people already inhabited the Americas, with cities, governments, and cultures thousands of years old. To them, Columbus didn't discover a new world, he invaded one. The arrival of Europeans brought forced labor, mass enslavement, and diseases that wiped out up to 90% of indigenous populations. In 1992, the 500th anniversary of Columbus's voyage, protests erupted across the hemisphere. While some celebrated discovery, others called it the beginning of genocide. Cities began to reconsider their monuments. Statues were defaced or removed. South Dakota replaced Columbus Day with Native American Day. Berkeley, California renamed it Indigenous Peoples Day. By the 2020s, dozens of U.S. states and hundreds of cities had followed. The debate remains fierce. Some argue that judging a 15th century man by modern standards is unfair, that Columbus was no worse than his age, and that his voyage connected the world, beginning the global exchange of ideas, crops, and cultures. Others reply that context does not excuse cruelty. that we cannot celebrate courage while ignoring its victims. So what should we remember? And what should we forget? Columbus was a man of contradictions, visionary yet ruthless, devout yet ambitious, intelligent yet blind to the suffering he caused. His voyage did change the world, connecting continents, launching an age of exploration, trade, and migration that shaped our modern era. But it also marked the beginning of centuries of exploitation, slavery, and cultural destruction. To call him either hero or monster is to miss the point. History is rarely simple. It's a mirror, showing us not just what happened, but what we choose to see. Columbus's story tells us as much about our present as about his past. In the 19th century, Americans needed a hero. In the 21st, we need the truth. We can acknowledge his courage without denying his crimes. We can study his voyages while honoring the people whose worlds were shattered by them. Perhaps that's the balance, to remember both the sails on the horizon and the voices silenced beneath them. Because in the end, the story of Columbus is the story of us, of how nations are built, how myths are made, and how, with time, the tide of memory changes. So when October arrives again and you hear his name, ask yourself, who are we honoring? The man, the myth, or the mirror he holds up to history? Christopher Columbus, explorer, villain, or both?
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more weekly documentaries and daily shorts. Also, if you like this video, hit that like button, as it really helps out. I'll see you next week.